So once that process has been achieved, meaning your idea was presented to the right person, the committee's idea was presented to the right person, meaning the executive, who then would present it to the executive committee in their meeting, and then they would be doing the right thing, which is to put it on the agenda, because a lot of the proposals, they might not necessarily have the expertise to know yes or no. They should really not put themselves in the position to, let us say, they now stop the people's rights. They should perform their duty and approve it, yes, and do all the things that they need to do to make it really, let us say, they're now ready for prime time, yes, but change it not. Let it come to the floor. Let the people freely debate it, because that is where now the people will decide in the majority, yes or no, maybe so, and then now that becomes law. Any other process that perverts that law is weak. And we should be encouraged to know that the strength of the law is when we all agree. Yes. So let us then now endeavor to comprehend, so we don't have different interpretations of the same truth. Common comprehension is much more useful, right? So that's what we're talking about, the procedure. All members, committees, and the units. So that means in the federation, that's all you do have, members, committees, units, right? So that all of those groups have the same procedure to follow. Whatever is your suggestion, whatever is your recommendation, whatever is your finding, whatever is your report, present it to the executives for their approval, executive committee. And then it will be presented to the general body of the local, and then that's where it stops, but then now for resolution, right? So it shows you that the people remains in touch with their democracy at every stage. And in this constitution, it is not given us in the constitution and bylaws anywhere where we can say then now that members who are not present have the right to vote. It's not written here. And there can be a law that is questioned in that regard. You know, there's what is called a proxy vote, meaning you are not present to vote, so you give someone the power of attorney to attend a meeting on your behalf and vote on your behalf. It's called a proxy vote. Then there's a write-in vote, meaning you're out of town, you're not able to come, and so on and so forth, but you will write in your vote, right? So these things have its place in the law, and if you want to test it, you can test it, but listen, the Constitution gives us the right to be at the meeting when those things are being done, and to vote at the meeting. If you're not at the meeting, well, there's no way to vote, let's put it that way, right? So the bylaws is really showing us how to operate, how to keep our meetings, how to function, and the Constitution is really telling us what to do. You know, like say, the things then that we need to really focus on. It said in the pledge, aims and objects. We did not touch upon the aims and objects, but we shall now. And it's Article 1. Section 1 of Article 1 is the name of the organization, being the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated. Section 2, the aims shall be 2A, to promote love and goodwill among Ethiopians at home and abroad. So we could say, to promote love and goodwill among Africans at home and abroad, among black people at home and abroad. We could say all of that. But it says here, for correction's sake, Ethiopians at home and abroad. To promote love and goodwill among Ethiopians at home and abroad, and thereby to maintain the integrity and sovereignty of Ethiopia, to disseminate the ancient Ethiopian culture among its members, to correct abuses, relieve oppression, and carve for ourselves and our posterity a destiny comparable with our idea of perfect manhood and God's purpose in creating us, that we may not only save ourselves from annihilation, but carve for ourselves a place in the sun. In this endeavor, we determine to seek peace and pursue it, for it is the will of God for man. That's A in the aims and the objects. Then it goes to B, and then it goes all the way to H. And after H, in the conclusion of the aims and objects, may God help us to accomplish these aims and ideals, right? B, to promote and pursue happiness, for it is the goal of human life and endeavor. C, to usher in the teaching and practice of the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. Ain't that beautiful? Okay. D, to promote and stimulate interest among its members in world affairs, and to cultivate a spirit of international goodwill and comity, courteous behaviors. Good stuff. E, to promote friendly interest among its members, to develop a fraternal spirit among them, and to inculcate in its members the desire to render voluntary aid and assistance to one another at all times. That sounds strange to us. It should not, that's our heritage. In our socialization, Western-wise, this might sound a bit strange, but it should not. This is the way we all should live. F, to render voluntary aid and protection to its members without fee or charge for same when in need, and if necessary, to provide care for refugees and disabled victims of the Ethiopian War, which is the fascists of Mussolini that invaded the sovereignty of Ethiopia, that caused all of this to, let us say, be necessary. All right? So it's recorded in the book that this war produced refugees and disabled victims, and we should be ready to help. Okay. G, to give concrete material and voluntary aid without fee or charge for the same, and to all such refugees and disabled victims, and to raise funds by voluntary subscription for the purposes aforementioned. There shall be no charge, fee, beneficiary tax, or other assessment upon the members of the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated except for dues provided for in the Constitution and bylaws of the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated. H, to encourage its members to develop interest and pride in democratic institutions and to promote democratic principles and ideals. May God help us to accomplish these aims and ideals. All right. I really chuckled a while ago, when it said except for dues. Because the dues, I got to say this. Where is it? Dues, section 5 of article 2. The Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated shall have the right to establish membership dues. The membership dues shall be 10 cents US per week. These dues shall be remitted to the headquarters. Right underneath it says unfinancial members. Any member who is 12 weeks in arrears in the payment of dues shall be unfinancial in the organization. Right?